Hey, Holly, I wanted to answer this question here. And you said, what's it mean when you now that you have the superbug long term, and how come it will always be in your system despite treatment? Well, first of all, let's get cozy. Get the blanket. Oh, nice and cozy. So if you don't know me, I'm Ruth. I'm 30 years old. I've been in a hospital now for, 9 weeks, and this is me answering a few questions. So I live with multiple complex illnesses, mainly being Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I have a lot of comorbidities and complications, including intestinal failure, bladder failure, autoimmune disease, as well as Addison's disease, chronic infections, and multiple sepsises. I battle constantly, as well as problems with my chest and my breathing, and it, like, the list goes on and on and on. Basically, it affects multi-systemic all over my body. But yes, Holly's asking here, the question was about superbug. So I mentioned a little while ago that I've had to come into a side room for permanently now because of the superbug. I've had bugs all the time, different bugs growing, but this bug that I've caught is a superbug. So it is resistant to a type of specific antibiotics. Basically, the superbug I have is called CPE. Now, I probably won't pronounce it completely right. Pronunciation. But it's carbonmen. I can't say it. Carbonmentase producing enterobacterials. Basically, mainly it's found in the gut, but it's a bacteria that produce these special enzymes, and these enzymes allow for the bacteria to be resistant to a valuable family of carbon antibiotics, which are normally reserved for treating life-threatening multi-drug resistant infections. So the carbapenem antibiotics are the true antibiotics of last resort. Resistance to these antibiotics risks a world where we have no treatment options available. So with someone like me who gets constant infections and problems, it's not good news, basically. They've been warning doctors and hospitals that actually CPE is actually worse and it's more dangerous than MRSA. And mostly patients get them in hospital, patients who are more vulnerable. If you're healthy, you're much less likely to get it, or if you've been in things like intensive care units, which I have been a lot. With my very low immune system as well, I unfortunately got CPE, and it can live in your gut, and it's no problem. It's not dangerous. Not only it was in my gut, it then transferred outside my gut to go into like my chest, my lungs, and then my bloodstream, and then it actually latched onto my line, which is really dangerous, and that's when it becomes life-threatening. And we treated it, but we had like hardly any antibiotics, and the antibiotics, as I said from that article, there's very few of them. So you're resistant to the normal list that most people would use. You can't even touch. It will not work on these CPE infections. So we have very little ones to use. Once they're gone, and there's no more we can use, and that is terrifying. We managed to treat the CPE that was in my chest and my bloodstream, but so now, it has been treated, but it's still dormant. It's colonized within my gut and within my system, and at any moment it could latch onto a simple UTI, a simple chest infection, pneumonia, or a blood infection, or a line infection, or any infection I get. Could be a normal infection, or it could be an infection with CPE. And if it's with the CPE, that means I might have had, 5 antibiotics I could use, or 10, but now it's gone down to like 2, and the really rare ones. So it's really difficult, because any infection already was hard enough to treat, and now the CPE in me, it making it 100 times harder. I don't know all the ins and outs in the science. This is from what I know, what I've been told by infectious diseases as well, which I'm now under. And anytime I'm in a hospital environment, I've got to be in a side room because of risk to myself and other patients. It's not a risk to normal people, but if you're immune compromised, but in a hospital setting, I have to be in a side room or isolated. Don't worry, at home I can go out. I'm not going to be literally locked inside for the rest of the time, which at first I did panic that, and I was like, guys, I can't just be locked inside my house for the rest of the time. Sorry, this is quite rambling. I shouldn't really answer these questions at like 10:52 on an evening, but I just want to explain, Holly, I hope that makes some sense. So it's colonizing my system in my gut always, but most times people can have it and it won't come out of their gut. They'll be colonized with it, but it won't cause any more damage than that. but unfortunately mine did come out of my gut and went into my bloodstream, and that which caused serious infections, sepsis, and the mortality rate wasn't good, and that was what was really scary at the time. When I was really, really poorly. Well, I've been really poorly over the last 2 months, but when it's really critical at one point, it was really upsetting because they were saying if this antibiotic doesn't work, we've only got like one more left, and if that doesn't work, then we can't save Ruth. And that was just that was really tough to get your head around, for mum and dad to hear, and me to hear as well. For the future, I'm always going to have the CPE, and every infection now is like I said, a real worry, because I might have an infection just without the CPE. If it's with the CPE, the gram negative, that means that, like I said, you might have 20 antibiotics that are sensitive to, and now it's been cut down to 3, and 3 very rare ones. And I said, I'm on this research though, trial thing. Someone came to speak to me about it, and I said, oh, was there many people in the trial? And she went, yeah, we've got 10 people. I said, what, 10 people? Because that's how rare it is, or my severity of having the CPE and how it's affected me. There was a number that someone told me, I can't remember, about the indices across the UK with CPE, but yeah, it's when someone says it's worse, more dangerous than MRSA, you're like, whoa, that means it's not good. I hope that makes some sense. So it's, at the minute, it's dormant. We don't need to treat it at the minute. It's in my system. We don't need to treat it. But at any time, any infection, it can latch onto and make that infection a million times harder to treat. That's made things very tricky with my infections, and it's made my bladder surgery, which I'm waiting for, a urostomy, even more urgent, because yes, my it's tough. When people say, oh, I've got a bit of antibiotic resistance, it's like, oh, people can have that, but that's why I always say be careful with antibiotics, because once you build up resistance, you can't get it back, and you don't want to catch things like these superbugs. You really, really don't. And as they said, I was more likely to get it because of my times in intensive care and how poorly I've been in my immune system in itself. But now we just hope and pray, and we don't want it to attach around my lines and tubes, and just take one day at a time, really. Me and the superbug are stuck together for life now. Well, they said it could go away, but it's a very, very, very tiny chance. Once it's in your system, it's in your system. I hope that makes some sense. Thanks for your questions. If I can answer anything else, let me know. Obviously, this is my experience. Everyone is different. It's just my experience personally with my hospital, my team, and what I've been told and what I'm experiencing living through. But everyone's journey is different. Everyone's story is different. You might meet somebody else with CPE. It's been a lot lighter and not as dangerous and not as problematic, or it has left their system. But this is my story and what I'm dealing with. I hope that all makes sense. Mwah.